Hello and welcome to another chapter. In this chapter, we're going to talk about Auth0 Action and how we can generate a production-ready token for a stream chat. In the previous video, we have implemented a stream chat with dev token, but dev token is not enough for production-ready applications, right? So we're going to generate a token completely serverless in Auth0 Actions. Auth0 Actions, in fact, is similar to AWS Lambda, a Firebase function, cloud functions, and Azure, functions, and similar approaches. It's a serverless approach to modify and maybe add some claims or extra metadata to your users' information. So stay tuned with me. Let's get into this and get a production-ready token for our application for a stream chat. All right, now I am in Auth0 dashboard. So here is where in the menu you could find Auth pipeline. This used to be very important because you could have hooks and, rules and things like that. But recently, Auth0 added a new functionality named Actions, where you can create a flow of actions. This is very powerful. So in fact, you have 6 types of flow at the moment. Like this is a login. Generally, logging is, this is going to be executed like after a user is logged in and when a refresh token are issued. So this is important, right? And this is in fact the one that we're going to use today. You're going to have machine to machine. This is in fact for the client credential hooks, previously. And you have the pre-user registration. This is going to be executed right before a user is added to the database or a passwordless connection. This is very powerful. If you want to modify something here in between adding the user to database, you can do that. Like imagine you can maybe at that time add a role or something, or, just some ideas. This is post-user registration, right after user is added to the database. So in fact, when user is in Auth0 is registered, you will get this user management. You have the database here. You might have an external database connected to Auth0, or you might have password approach. This is the time that will be executed after that user is added there. Then you have post change, similar things. It's very self-explanatory, and then send phone message, and that is executed when using a custom MFA provider. So for today, we will go for login. What we want to do, here is our scenario. So in fact, when user is logged in, we want to, before the token is sent to the Flutter application, we want to add a token, a production token from a stream for our user, because we want to connect our user. In the previous video, we connected with dev token. If you have not watched that video, please, the link is somewhere there or maybe in the description. Just go and watch it. You see what we've done. But don't worry about it. That's not important right now. The important thing here is to generate a token. I mean, the goal of this chapter is to show you how you can leverage a serverless approach on Auth0 to do something, some logic, and add that to your, respond when you receive that in your application. Let's take a look at that. What you can do. This is the login. When the user is logging, the user is start to log in. And when the token is issued, between this time, you can do a few things. But that's very important things to do. So in fact, if I go now to this plus, browse actions, you can have SNS as a service. You can have click send or a bunch of actions, pre-made actions here where you can use. But we don't want to do that. We want to use our custom actions. I want to create a custom action here. All right. So what we have here, so we have two options now here. Either we can go with the pre-made ones. Well, you can add an action, or you maybe want to create your own. And I think this is very powerful. We can do a lot here. So let's see. I want to actually right now generate a token. So I'm gonna give this action a name. Says get a stream prod user token, and that's going to be triggered. I think I want to do it actually after login. Like this is what I want to do during the login process. And the only runtime they actually support is Node.js, which is okay. We can write some JavaScript. I think that's not a problem. So bear with me. It's going to be very easy. So I'm going to go and create this right now. All right. So now this is the workspace that I need to work. If you look at this right now, I have two handlers here, two functions. I have one on continue post login and on execute post login. So when I want to right now add something to my mail, like user metadata or custom claim, the best time to do it is on execute post login. That is going to be called during the execution of a post login flow. This is exactly what I want to do here. But I'm going to use StreamSDK to help me to generate that. So they have, I'm going to show you right now quickly. They have an SDK in JavaScript, luckily, and the version is 8. That's very good. So I can actually install this. But how can I install that in Auth0 Action? This is the SDK that I'm going to use. And, you know, there is a guide here. You can connect. And you can also go ahead and, you know, generate a token. Here is the create user token. Fairly simple, right? Fairly simple. So we're just going to use this functionality and nothing else. Let's see what we can do together. So that's Stream.js. I'm just going to copy that. And here is the things. What you can do here is you can actually click on dependencies. Very nice. You can come to dependencies and name the package that you want to download. And that was actually get a stream. And you can even specify the exact version. I can just say maybe version 8. You see? And, well, not here. I mean, the point here in the version. Or you can leave it like as always latest. But I want to always specify a version. So just, I don't want to get surprised when there is a new change, right? So just going to go with this version. And this is the name of package. So I'm going to create that. That is going to be added to my dependencies. That is very nice. You see how powerful it can get. So now I have here, so a stream. So I can go and say, I want now this package required. This is some JavaScript. If you're not familiar with JavaScript and you're watching this video, don't worry. What I do here, I technically say I require this package to be available as a stream, and then I'm going to use a stream here. So based on the documentation, I need to connect to a stream. And the syntax would be like, well, let's see. Let's say this is the client, or let's call it get a stream client. And then I have the stream object right now. So they require on top. And then I have a connect method. And immediately it shows me that the connect method needs two parameters. It needs a secret here, a client key and a secret. You remember in the previous video, if you have watched the previous one, we had, when we created a client, a stream dashboard for that client provided us two things: a client key, which we used in Flutter, and a client secret, which we didn't see that because we didn't want to reveal it. It's very sensitive. For those who have not watched it, I'm going to show you very quickly the dashboard. Here is the dashboard that we created. This is the application, this is the keys, and this is the secret. Once you create that, then you come to the secret tab here. Very nice. And then you add them here. So let's do that quickly. I would say get a stream, chat, secret, key, and also the client key. So the value I pasted here, and I will create this. And another one is going to be the client key. So I just name it stream, chat, client key, and the value would be here. Nice. What it happens right now is I would get this from the environment. So I'm not going to hard code any sensitive data, especially the secret. It's so sensitive. So I'm just going to put it there as a secret. So even if I now edit it, I don't see it anymore. That's a good thing. So let's now see what we can do here. We need to pass the secret, and that is going to be available on event. You see there is a function here that has event and API as the parameter. So what I'm going to have here is going to be event.secrets dot the key that I provided, and that's going to be get a stream chat client key. That's good. Now I have this key. I can also copy that for secret, and that is going to be secret. That's nice. So now I'm connecting to a client. I'm creating a client for my stream SDK. So the next thing that I want to do based on the documentation is I just need to get a stream token. I just need to get a user token. That's what I want to do. And in fact, what I want to do is, well, let's just rename, okay, let's just have this as like get stream client dot. There will be a function there which says create user token. And now I can pass my user ID. But how do I know what is my user ID in this context? That's a very good question. In fact, in Auth0, you will have access to user ID. So how? What you can do here, you can say event.user.user ID. This gives you the user ID because it's kind of like during the login process, Auth0 knows about the user ID in this case. So you're passing this user ID to create user. One thing that I will have to mention, you remember probably in the previous video, we used, let me show you, for those who are not even watching us, have not watched the previous video. Let's see that. In chat service, well, when we connect user, we had user ID and everything here. And if you remember, in our model, which is Auth0 user, which we created last time, the user ID is in fact the SOP, the unique identifier, which is coming from OIDC. And that's the standard, right? That's unique identifier, which means our ID here. But a stream does not accept that ID because it comes with this character, a caret, which we cannot pass it as user ID. What we did here, we split it with that and we joined. Like that means if user was like Auth0 like this, we turn this to this. We removed it somehow, right? You need to make sure that you have the exact same thing also now in this function. So what we need to do here, we can simply come here and do the same thing. Like we can just say, in fact, we exactly can do the same thing, like use a split and use join. The same syntax in Dart and JavaScript. Nice. So now I'm getting my token. Here is the thing. You can have two functionality, like two options here. Either you can add this to user metadata or app metadata, which is one option for you. And why I'm telling this? Because, well, you have this user, and if you open this user, there is two sections that is app or user metadata. You can do that like API. What is API? This is the second parameters in this function. And then I'm going to go and say API user dot set meta or set user metadata. And then I can say, well, this is the user token and my token. That's very simple. You can do that. Or I think what I like to do, because then I will get that immediately when I have the ID token, is setting a new claim called custom claim. A custom claim is like you can say API dot ID token. You want to set a custom claim to ID token, and then you can say set custom claim. Now you can pass a key here, and I will explain about that, and the value. And the value here is very simple. It's a get a stream, in fact, get a stream token. Okay. You need to do the same thing for access token too. You need to set both. You will require that in both access token and ID token. Well, that's nice. But what should be this key? The custom claim key it must be like a URL style, URI. Like it must be something like HTTPS, like me.majidhajian.user token, something like that. This is a valid custom claim key. So in fact, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just set a namespace here. I'd say my namespace would be like https://getastream.mjcoffee.app. And that would be my custom my namespace. And then what I can do, because I need this to be like user ID, user token. Well, in fact, I already know this is going to be this name, like getastream MJ Coffee app, right? This shows me the user token, or token in short. It is going to be my getastream token. So this is a syntax in JavaScript. For those who don't know, you use this backtick and you use these curly braces for evaluating the variable that you define with a $sign. Very similar to Dart or in many languages. So then I'm going to just copy this. And now paste it here also for the second one. You can also define that there as a value and pass that. Like, for example, you can say user token key or that, and then you can just replace it there. So that's the thing. Right now, I managed to add a custom claim. And in fact, this is a good thing because you learned right now how you can add custom claims. And many times you're receiving something in your Flutter mobile applications which is not very normal. And those are the ones that, not normal, it's not a standard. Those are the ones that we call them custom claims. You can do that. Your backend developers can do that. So you're going to do that here in Auth0. That should be as simple as this. You don't need any backend here right now. So, and this is a serverless function. In fact, these simple things that we just wrote can be added as a Lambda function or anything else, for generating this token. So now you learn two things. First, how you generate a production-ready token for GetStream with their JavaScript SDK. Well, here I want to also show you this documentation page. In GetStream, you have a tokens and authentication, and it just shows you how you can generate that. And I chose Node.js. There is an example here as well. Or any languages that you use for your backend, you might have that as well. Very simple. But this is the link. This is something that you can just search and go ahead and look for the details. Now, you learn also a new things is that you can also manipulate your ID token and access token and set a custom claim here. And you learned also how you should name that custom claim, because many times I've seen developers are adding like just user token to custom claim, and it does not work, and it will not work. So you need to make sure this is like a URL style, URL, theme. All right, this is for Auth0. So now you learned these two things. That's the time we can test it. Well, that's a good thing because you can test it right away. You can send an event, and there is something that here, if I can go down a bit here, I cannot. Let me just make this a little bit smaller. Yes. You see, there is some examples here, and that's a good thing, because now when I run this, then it's going to go and execute this, and then it gives me a result. Let's see what we will receive as a result, and then we can debug that. There we go. So the problem right now is this is not defined. Probably I made some mistake in the secret. Yes. So we're going to go and fix this and run it again. All right, now I'm going to run the test again. And let's wait for, there we go. There you get the result. So, well, that's good. So I have a value, and this value is a JOT, let's say, token. That's good. So I can copy this right now. And I can also copy, like maybe this one. This is for access token. This is for ID token. That's a JOT one. What I can do, I can actually test if it's working or not. Like I can go to jot.io. I can just paste it here. And I see there is actually, this is my username, in fact. This is the user ID. So that's good. So it seems like everything is working. It's time to go and actually deploy this. You cannot, I actually deployed that right now. So you can now go back to the flows. Here is the important part. Now you go to the login part. That's good. And now you will have a custom claim here, a custom action here, get user token. You can drag and drop it here. What will happen is that once you have this here, when users start logging in, before everything is completed, this is going to be run, issued, and then passed to the ID token. You get a new custom claim. You're going to apply this, and it's a moment of truth. I can go now to my application. I'm going to go to my auth service. And when we get ID token, again, if you're coming to the video for the first time, we added all of these services and functionalities in the previous videos. You may go and watch them, but we created a function for handling ID token, parsing the token here. And then we also had a local set local variable function, which is going to validate and set these ID token on like locally. What I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna just go to this parse token, this ID token, and I will just print this JSON here. I just want to see what else do I have. So let's say this is going to be ID token. Now it's simple. Just open the debugger and refresh. And when user is logged in, so we should have a new claim. Let's see. There you go. Now we have this custom claim. And that looks like exactly as we set that up. This is very nice. So, but now I need to get this to my model because I don't have that. Let's see how can we do that. All right. What we can do right now is we can go back to the implementation. Let's actually remove this JSON. Go to the Auth0 ID token. This is my ID token model. So now I have a new one that is going to be stream token. So I will use a stream token or a stream user token. I know this is going to be a production ready token. And I'm going to go down and here I'm going to have stream token. And that is going to be a string. And well, I expect that not to be null for sure, but you can have that also as a safety. But I expect it should be generated if everything is fine. So here is the key though, because I have now a claim. I named it a stream token, but the key that is different. Like the key that I have is the namespace that I defined. All right. So I need to make sure that I have that key here to the JSON key. Here is what I want to do now. Then I'm going to go and in my JSON key here, well, one thing I can do, I can actually go back here and copy and paste. Well, also, well, it's very simple. I can even write it here. That would be HTTPS get a stream dot mjcoffee app or dot app slash user token. That was the namespace or a key that we defined for this, right? So that's it. So what we need to do lastly is to just, here is the key. Well, I could even copy and paste it from here. Go to the terminal and run build runner. Let's do that. So there we go. All right. That's very nice. And we have one more step probably, which is going to be done very quickly. Let's wait for it. One more thing we need to do also here is that now this is actually under the ID token. We also have a user model. So it's going to be auth user model. So we need to add this a stream chat user token also to our user model, right? When are we going to use this? Let's find out. For those who are maybe you don't remember that, let's find it out. We use that in Auth service here, where we had this request of user info. In fact, now this is going to return a custom also claim for us. I want to show that before I do. Let's have this respond here. Print. I'm going to go and restart one more time. This is still building. So that's good. All right. So I'm going to restart again my app and go to debug mode. And you should be able to, after login, user info is requested. We talked about it in previous videos, we should be able to see also that one here. That's a very nice thing to do. And there you go. So now here you also have this token. You have this key. So technically you can come back, go to your Auth0 user, have this as like stream token or user token. And in fact, this is going to be similar to what we've done with the previous ID token. So I'm just going to go and maybe copy that from there. So what we can do, we can just go to our ID token, just simply maybe copy this key. There you go. So now I'm going to go and generate one more time. And after this time, all right, now this is generated. So we can come back to the connected user, the function that we had in the previous video about connecting our chat user. And in fact, we've been generating a dev token. We don't need to do that anymore. We can come back here, comment this out, and then say, now I have my user at a stream token. So now you have a production ready token without having any server in Auth0 Actions, and setting as a custom claim to your ID token. And you have it also as a user information ready for you. So go ahead and use that. Now it's simple. I'm going to just refresh. My username was, well, let's find it out. So I'm going to go to my user, and that was my user cool@majidhajian.com. And the ID here was this ID. And Auth0 with that, right? So I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to show you something right now. So I logged in as this user. If I now go to support, this is going to, there you go, connected with, well, we'll come back to this and fix that later, but it's now connected to a chat with a root. You remember that, right? Probably. For those who don't remember, we create a support chat with a random ID for now, root employee ID. I created a channel with this user and the employee ID, which is this, and we're going to replace that with real ID and create this channel. It's a members channel. So now, if I go back to my stream, that's the last thing of this video. Go to the MJ Coffee, explore, go to user. I didn't have this user, but if I search right now, the user is now connected and it is in my stream chat with all of these information that I see. And you see even the name or the email of user is the one that I logged in with. So that is very nice. All right, this was very nice. I hope that you learned about custom claims and Auth0 Actions flow and how you can add different things. It's the powerful tools under your hand. And also, I'm very glad that you learned how you generate a production ready token for stream chat, which we added in the previous video. So if you are having also other backends, regardless, you still can use this video as your base, and the concept of generating those tokens, adding those custom claims are fairly similar. Good luck. See you in the next video.